I want you to rank these 4 in terms of hardest. A rematch with Tommy Fury, a fight with Anthony Joshua, taking on Canelo, or Usyk in MMA.
I would say Usyk in MMA is number 1.
Charlotte Daly on MailSport Boxing, joined by Jake Paul. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing phenomenal, a little bit hungry. I got 4 more pounds to go. But other than that, my energy is the best it's ever been going into a fight.
You say that actually. I will start with the cut now that you've mentioned it. What is it like cutting? What can people that haven't done it kind of experience or think about it?
Yeah, I think it's just extreme discipline and ridding yourself of like any temptation, and it's just a very tough challenge. But it's fun, to be honest. Like, if you just frame it that way and just think in your mind that this is like fun, this is a good challenge. The only part that sucks is basically the last couple of pounds when you're in the sauna. Then it just feels like you're dying and you're in the middle of the desert, and you watch the movies about people like starving to death. That's what it feels like.
You said there about making it fun. That's some hell of a mindset to be able to think about it like that. One of the things I found particularly interesting before the Mike Tyson fight was the clip that went out of you sitting in the corner of the ring. You were almost doing a visualization ceremony. Can you talk to me about what that was and whether you do that before every fight?
Yeah, no, I do it before every fight, and it's like breath work, meditation, visualization, all mixed into one. I'm really big on manifestation and also creating images in your head of the result that you want to happen and seeing yourself the way you want to perform. And so when you're actually doing it, the synapses fire faster and you're actually like calling in a higher reality, and it's getting in touch with God, and then also clearing any negative energy that's on you and just aligning your mind, because boxing is arguably more mental than it is physical, and not being able to manage your emotions and fear and all of those things is not good for the sport.
You talk about manifestation, and a lot of people that would have come from your route would maybe keep their ambitions of world titles to themselves. They wouldn't publicly announce it as much as you do. Is the reason that you announce it so much because you're trying to put it out into the universe rather than kind of working away on it, achieving it, and then saying, well, that's what I was always going to do?
Scientifically or spiritually, whatever you believe in, we live in a vibrational world. So when you're actually putting those sound vibrations into the universe, you're actually making that reality happen faster. And so the faster you put your goals out to the world, the faster they will attract to you. And it's the simple law of attraction. And I've been doing it, since I was younger, and it works. Like, it just completely works. So, and you have to be a believer. Some people don't know how to do it. Some people just expect things to happen. But you have to put in the work behind the things you say as well.
You're on track now to where you want to be going, and you're ticking off people, and you're wanting that world title. But was there ever a part of you that had to get over almost a sense of imposter syndrome when you first started and you were this global star in the boxing world before you had achieved things? And do you still deal with any of that imposter syndrome now?
It wasn't necessarily imposter syndrome in the early days. I just had a lot more like fear getting into the ring because I didn't know what I was capable of. But I did know that I could beat a lot of these guys. And every fight I went into in the early days, there were 50-50 fights. And so there was a lot on the line, and that brought a lot of fear. And so it was more so just managing that and maybe feeling out of place with how to manage that fear.
With fear in your whole life, whether you've ever been unsuccessful in something, it's always been in the public eye. Did that contribute to it, that all eyes are on you and you're putting out these goals of world champion and you've got a massive following, and if you don't achieve it, that was where the fear was rooted from, more so than actually the fear of getting punched or getting knocked out? Or how's the balance?
A little bit of both, but definitely more public fear. But I think it's a good thing. You have to put pressure on yourself. I think it makes you be greater in everyday life, and I'm almost backing myself up into a corner to fight my way out of it. And so it's, if I'm saying these things, then I have to hold myself to a higher standard. So a lot of the times when I'm saying things, I'm also saying it as a challenge to myself. And so that's a big part of it. But there's also, fear of, whatever happens in the ring. So it's a little bit of both.
you're putting in the work so that hopefully that fear doesn't manifest into something. If I'm right in thinking, you've spent about 30 million on a new ranch, and you've got a pop-up gym there. Was that on the ranch that you built that? And what was the purpose of having that pop-up gym rather than where you've usually been training?
Yeah, no, I mean, we were mostly training in Puerto Rico, but I've been there for 5 years, so I wanted to switch it up a little bit for like a week or two. And so, yeah, went to my investment property and did a little bit of training there, which was nice, and it was a nice change of pace.
I'm also right in thinking that before a fight, don't you get a brand new phone? Don't you kind of delete all the contacts, block everyone out? What is the purpose of that? What's the benefit?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's just people nagging you all the time. I've stopped getting like a new phone, but I just don't really respond to people because there's just so much attention being pulled away from the main goal and the main focus. And you don't realize how tiring being on your phone, looking at social media, all of those things does. And so, yeah, literally throughout the day, I'll literally just go put my phone in a drawer and just raw dog life.
Talking about training, Larry Wade has obviously been helping you with the S&C side of things. Now, I read something from him the other day that he says he gives every one of his fighters a challenge that before they make their ring walks, they have to be able to do 100 unbroken press-ups. And there's things like 1,000 reps of ab crunches and whatnot in training. When do you have to pass these tests by, and how difficult is it training with someone like him?
Yeah, it's very intense and very tough. He's psychotic. He listens to like Halloween killer scary music before going into training. That's just the type of person he is, like literally Michael Myers theme song coming into training. And so it's very intense, and we usually have to pass those milestones. Each one is different throughout the camp. But it gives you a baseline and lets you know that you're ready. So it's good to have those little markers that we can always look back on.
In terms of you personally, I watched Pool America, and my takeaway from it was that, you know, you're shaped as this villain and in the boxing world, and that sells pay-per-views, but it's almost like you don't actually want to be that villain. Is there do you battle with the two sides of it?
I think as I get older, I still enjoy, you know, being like a shithead sometimes, and I was always like the class clown, so I can play into that. But the people who read deeper into what it is that I'm doing, you have to know that drama sells, and people made me the villain and hated on me since I first started YouTube, and so I kind of had to embrace it and embrace that role. But I think the tides are definitely turning, and 50% of the people out there in the world see me for the person that I actually am on podcasts, documentaries, Paul American, all of those things. But it's the people who just read the headlines and like the clickbait and in the comments that have compiled this group of hatred and jealousy towards me.
I have two more questions for you. You mentioned yesterday that you'd be interested in coming to the UK, fighting Anthony Joshua there. Do you have a venue that sticks out in particular? Is it Tottenham Hotspur? Is it Wembley? Is there a venue that you'd love to box him at?
Yeah, I mean, I think Wembley's the most iconic. I think that would be one of the craziest fights and moments of all time, and I would literally be walking into the Lion's Den, 100,000 people chanting "Fuck Jake Paul," and something about that just excites me. I actually can't wait.
Look, I know your goal is world title and that's the route that you're going down, but there's so much debate on social media about what the harder challenge would be. So I want to put it to you. I want you to rank these four in terms of hardest. Would it be a rematch with Tommy Fury, a fight with Anthony Joshua, taking on Canelo, or Usyk in MMA?
I would say Usyk in MMA is number 1, Anthony Joshua's number 2, Canelo's number 3, and Tommy's number 4.
Well, hopefully we see all those fights.
We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be fun.